Ben and Mike, welcome to the Wisseloord studios. Have you ever been here before?
I believe we have. Have we been here before?
I don't know, I thought you'd be able to tell me. It's a great building actually, isn't it, Ben? We had a long conversation about the rugs earlier.
What's it with studios and rugs?
I think it's a spiritual thing. All about multi-faith and
Vibe. I don't think we could have made our album without a good quality rug.
Your music depends on the quality of the rug.
100%.
So I asked you guys to come up with a list of the 5 most important tracks in your life. This could be tracks of bands that have influenced you, or tracks that represent who you are as a band. Was it a hard task to choose these?
No, I don't think it was. We came up with it pretty quickly, actually.
Yeah, I think these songs we feel like if you put them all into a blender, you'd get something that sounds a little bit like what we try to do.
Let's get started then. Track number 1.
Let's start with No One Knows, Queens of the Stone Age. Yeah, I mean...
Approved.
Yeah. Yeah, I had nothing to do with that song, but thank you. I remember hearing that. I just passed my driving test, and someone had lent me the CD, and I just had to pull the car over. It literally like blew my mind. I guess it was before that I'd only heard music that heavy with someone being like rah, 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 over it, and suddenly like as soon as the vocal came in, it was all soft and quiet and cool, and I don't know. I'd never heard someone sort of sing like almost like T-Rex and croon over music that could easily be a metal song. I didn't really think I was a singer, and then after hearing that, I kind of thought, well, I could do something like that, I could, because I'd never had the rock kind of voice, All the rock bands, everyone was like these big operatic like rock and roll voices.
What's your best impression of a rock voice?
I can't do one, otherwise I'd be in a completely different band.
Track number 2.
Led Zeppelin, Immigrant song.
Ooh.
I think a lot of people would have heard that song for the first time through School of Rock, because it was like the first time Zeppelin ever let a film use any of their music. Even just that intro of it going and it coming in, I'll never forget, and just him singing about Vikings and having sex with Vikings and the riff, and I was just like, oh my god, this is like...
It made you want to have sex with a Viking, didn't it, basically?
I must ask, you've been touring the world ever since. Have you met a Viking? Have you had sex with a Viking?
The gentleman never tells.
Track number 3.
Let's go with Dead Weather, Treat Me Like Your Mother. We've always been a fan of anything that Jack White's done. He just has such a unique style, and it's almost like he could play a tuba and you'd be like, oh, it's him. Do you know what I mean?
Who's got it figured out? Play straight, trying to manipulate.
It's just a weird mix-up of music, I thought. It had that dirty blues riffs, and but yeah, also with the kind of hip-hop drums and the really like rappy vocal. And I think as much as we love rock, particularly like some of the drum beats, we try and pull from, like stuff like Beastie Boys and more hip-hop orientated drum parts to stop it sounding like, I don't know, like Guns N' Roses or something, like classic, like classic rock.
Classic rock.
Yeah.
Is there something that you can already pinpoint now that's classic Royal Blood, no matter what happens?
I think whatever me and Ben do together will always sound like Royal Blood, I think. And I think that is the true kind of secret to like our sound and what we're about.
Do you have band favorites when you're in a tour bus or whatever? There's no discussion whatsoever. You can always agree on what to put on.
we don't actually talk to each other.
Never.
So it's all...
Can I pass something on to him? A message?
Tell him I quite like what he's done with the new record, and I hope he does really well with it.
Ben really likes what you did with the record.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, well, I'm a big fan of his work, and yeah, like as Ben said, like, we've never actually spoken. It's very rare we even look at each other, but I know that's just part of the way that the band works and the way it's gone forward. So, but I hear he's a great guy.
Maybe we should just go on to track number 4, I believe.
I want to see anything by T-Rex because I think I guess it was a similar thing with the Queen's reference where the vocals, I kind of felt like my voice was in that register, and it was like licensed for me to like be in a band and be the singer. I think the simplicity as well of of Mark Bolan's songwriting. I think everything we do in Raw Blood, the whole kind of game is like how simple can we make it, and sometimes our ideas start off quite complicated and complex, and it's about removing things until it's at its bare minimum, and that's when it's interesting to us.
The children of the revolution, now you won't fool. The children of the revolution, now.
It's pure classic rock, right? I mean, Led Zeppelin and T-Rex. If you were to program a classic rock radio station, those would be like staple artists. Yeah. But then again, like you said, you don't want to sound too much like classic rock with the hip hop influences and stuff like that.
I think it's just fun to mess with genre. I guess we're always trying to think, well, what aren't we allowed to do? Like, what's against the rules here? Like, how can we make it weird? Do you know what I mean?
Who tells you what the rules are? Like, you're in a recording studio and someone says, you can't do that.
Particularly on the first album where we were like, okay, no backing vocals, like no double tracks, no extra instruments. I think even like a tambourine, we were like, I don't know, man. Yeah, we wanted to make a really simple, raw album. And I think by, like any two-piece will tell you this, but I think by putting limitation, suddenly you start thinking of like the weird way around. Mm-hmm. Like one thing in our band that we can't do is a guitar solo. There's not a guitar, and there's no other music to back it up. Yeah. So, I mean, that's good for everyone, by the way, because there'll just be guitar solos all the time. But yeah, I guess it makes you think differently, and you think, okay, well, we can't do a guitar solo, so what are we going to do? So we do a drum solo, yeah.
The last track already, track number 5 in your 5 essential tracks list.
Did we pick our own one?
Yeah. You did.
Sounds the most like us.
Yeah.
What Royal Blood song did you pick? What song describes you guys the best?
Figure It Out is one of the first songs that we ever wrote together, so...
Out of the Black as well, I guess. I think, yeah, if we were to show anyone like 1 or 2 tunes that would sum up like what we're about, it would be Figure It Out or Out of the Black.
And it's hard to slow, never let you go, till the
It's everything that we think is fun to do. I think initially as well, everything in our songs at some point made us laugh, which is why it's in there. Like the new song Lights Out, for example, there's a big drum fill, and we're in the studio, and I was like, Ben, do the worst drum fill you could possibly think of. Like, what's the worst thing? Like, really stupid, like, what's stupid? And he just started doing that, and it felt like it was never going to end, and we were just like in tears of laughter. And the record label came down, and we were like, do you want to hear the new song? And they're like, yeah, put it on. So we put it on, and then we just looked over to their faces while it's just going, diggle, 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 and they're just like looking around, and like that's why that's in there.
And they never questioned what you were doing there.
But then you like play it to people, and they're like, oh yeah, that's really great. Like it always stops being funny and becomes serious. But I think, yeah, nearly everything in our songs is ultimately a joke.
So when you're gonna, I was just going to ask you if you're performing in front of an audience, the joke's on them.
No, I think it's just got to be fun, and that's where anything creative has to start. It's what we play music for fun, and that's why we're here.
Thank you guys so much for picking your 5 essential tracks. Mag ik alvast nu een groot applaus voor Royal Blood?